After my first season of bike racing, one thing has become pretty clear. I've got to get myself a coach. I have had so much fun turning up to races, meeting new people, riding as hard as I can, and just enjoying it for what it is. But if I want to take this seriously, I've got to make one drastic change. And it's time to get myself a proper coach. I spent the first half of my year on a quest to get enough points to get out of Cat 4. And now I'm a Cat 3 rider. And one thing I have realised is everyone is really damn good at racing their bikes. I've done 14,000k for the year, and sometimes I do 2 races a week. So it's not like I've been slacking, but it's time to flip the narrative. It's no longer about just showing up. I need to turn up and be competitive. There's only really one way to do that, and people have been telling me this all along. I've got myself a coach.
One thing I really know that I need to do for next year, because I want to take my racing seriously, is get a coach. Today we're going to meet him. Guys, welcome back to What Life. Let's roll. So today we're going to chat all things coaching. I have got myself a coach for next year, 2026, and I am looking forward to it. I think it's going to help me a lot. The one thing I have decided to do is actually have some specific focus for riding a bike next year. We're going to chat about it all today, and we're going to go and meet my coach.
There was only ever really going to be one place for us to meet up, so we headed down to the clubhouse in Putney. This is Alex Franks. He's 20 years old, he's a super good bike racer, and he's now my coach. Alex spent last season as part of Raptor racing team, the guys that actually went to Box Hill and set a new KOM. Alex's background includes things like racing the Junior Tour de France, and this season he's going to be an E12 rider and wants to be competitive at some Nat A races in the UK. Working together not only means that hopefully my racing should get better, but it also means I'm going to be able to show you some of the more high performance racing in the UK.
So we're going to have a sit down with Alex and have a quick chat about how we're going to work together this year or next year, 26th season. Explain my goals. I'm really excited about this. He's such a good dude. He's a great bike racer, and he can support me. I do pay him because that was important to me. I want to support him as a young bike racer, but then hopefully I can help him out a bit this season. All right, give me a sec. Let's go and chat bike racing in 2026.
I used to live in the basement.
Okay. So this is Alex, who is now going to be coaching. He has the unenviable task of coaching me next season. Alex himself is a very good bike racer. I don't know how else to put it, and I'm hoping that not only am I going to get coaching, but it's all about the bike racing experience, etc., etc. And his details will be down below, because he has a couple of people, or a series of people that he coaches, and we're going to grow it. So buddy, what in your head can I do as someone that's done a season of bike racing? Like, how do I kind of get a little bit better? And my focus is going to be the crit racing next year.
Yeah, I think it's just all about as in like working out the effort of the crit. So a crit is 60 minutes, and then you got to focus on all the aspects of that crit and like work and develop them. And then also, so like that's the fitness side, and then also the skill side is a massive part of the crit.
I learned that the hard way.
Yeah, and it's like working out like close contact with other people, just being comfortable with actually like riding the crit course, riding with people literally like directly around you, and that's probably like half of being able to be really good at a crit in the first place. And then specific efforts will help you get there as well.
So as a training plan, like where do I even start? Because my background, I've literally just gone like race, Zwift race, long ride with the boys, race. Like that's kind of all I did last year.
I think it's very so. The first thing I want to do is to actually sort of get you as a profile as an athlete, to sort of get all of your data, so your FTP, your 3 minute, your 5 minute power, and then sort of just grow all of that, because I feel like 5 minute and 3 minute power is very important for a crit, and it's being able to repeat that effort over and over again, and I think that's maybe something that you might have struggled with.
Coming to bike racing, the hardest thing I found is just having to repeat everything again.
Yeah.
Because you'll do it 2 or 3 times and you'll be like, this is golden, I've got this.
Yeah.
And then 5 and 6 times you're like, this is not going well. Yeah. 7 times I'm like waving bye to people.
And I think that's where a lot of people struggle, is where they, and like I do myself, as in I get to end of like a nat A, and I do struggle in that last half an hour. So it's just being able to still be fresh in that last 45 minutes. So the last 15 minutes of the race. Yeah. If you're doing a crit, and then last 45 minutes if it's a road race.
So this was the thing, is that I think I was probably very guilty of last year of just trying to do loads.
Yeah.
Because I enjoy it. But next year I have a goal, which is, I have a few goals, and do you want me to talk you through it?
For sure.
So my first goal is, I'm now Cat 3.
Yeah.
I'd like to get points in Cat 3 races. I'm not saying to get into Cat 2, but I want to come out at the end of the season with points.
Yeah.
I would need 40 to go up to Cat 2.
Yeah. Well, I personally think that's doable, and I said this to you earlier, and I do think we can definitely do that. It's just all about targeting specific events and just getting the fitness up.
That's my other thing.
Yeah.
Is that I have 2 or 3 races that I really want to target. One of them will be the Via Crit again, which is June. So halfway, we've got like 7 months from now.
Yeah.
So for a lot of the crit racing, I'm, if I do Hillingdon, if I do Abingdon and Goodwood, I'll be kind of like rolling through it, not as training, but whereas Via Crit, I really want to target.
Yeah, and I think, so what we can do for that is we can sort of take the Hillingdon and so if you do Cyclopark or Goodwood, is that we can put structured training around that, and then when it becomes to your, let's say, A goals, we can then taper it down slightly, so then we focus more on, so let's say 3 or 2 weeks leading up to that, we sort of focus on that specific event and make sure that we're just dialing in a few things like your sprinting, to make sure that you turn up on that start line ready to go.
So this is what I'm really looking forward to, is Alex being a good bike racer himself, we're planning on I'm certainly planning, I don't know whether he knows this, on getting together and just following him round the cycle park or Hillingdon, so that he can actually teach me some of the skills of cornering better, because I've improved over this last season of bike racing, but I also know that there is still room for improvement. And those little things, I think having not just someone that helps with the actual training, but also the practical side of bike racing should really help. I also want to do, so this is the other thing, is in my head I'm like, I want to do this, I want to do that.
Yeah.
So part of your job, I guess, is reining me in and just
yeah. I think so. For me personally, so that's also what I do, and I'm guilty of going into a season and thinking I want to target every single thing that I do to the best of my ability, and we just can't do that. So you've almost got to have a conversation at the start of the year, or even just before the year starts, and say this is 3 or 4 of the target races. It doesn't mean that you can't go into to a Tuesday night Hillingdon and not absolutely smash yourself to bits and have the best time, but it may just mean that you're just not at the highest performance that you want to be for, let's say, the Via Crit.
Yeah. Okay. So this is it. I've got my target races, which are going to be Via, and I want to do either Otley or maybe the Nocturne, which is a they are bringing the Nocturne race back for next season. So 2 of the town centre proper UCI Crit Series races is what I want to do, and they're both, I think it's like June or July is the town centre series. So I want to target those 2, which will be an hour long, high intensity, high repeatability races.
Yeah.
And then throughout the year, I think I'll probably end up doing some of the bigger like ETAP events, not to target them performance wise, but I guess help build the engine.
Yeah.
But then at the end of the year, which is October, we have the Mallorca Masters again.
Yeah. The so with short efforts like 3 or 4 minutes, it's very important to also build that base. So I think that's where we're going to start. It's just making sure that Max's base is really quite solid, and then we can sort of go from there, and then we can build the top end. It's much easier to do it that way round than do it the opposite way round.
So I was telling Alex earlier that this year is the biggest year I've ever had on a bike. I've done 14,000 kilometers up to now, which is like end of November, which I feel has like really helped me progress as a cyclist, because previously it was just all new. Like, it was all new to me. Like I was having to kind of build the right muscle groups to do it, build the right endurance within those muscle groups.
Yeah.
So do we get to look at how we'd structure a week? Like, let's say I want to do, realistically, I can be on a bike maybe 6 days out of the week.
Yeah.
Can I not just copy your training? No, but can I?
Well, I feel like it's more personalized to that. Like, so we've got to take in, so let's say your target goals, your age, and like just what you want to like do with it. You know, I feel like I'm targeting so we're both targeting slightly different events.
Yeah.
So I've got to be very good for 4 hours.
Okay.
And I've sort of got to try and hold the fitness towards the end of that 4 hours as I was at the start. And that's one of the biggest personal things that I struggle with. Whereas with you, we've got to target that hour power and that hour, and the skills, I think, is also a big thing.
Here's a question for you: is in road bike racing, people get categorized into certain types of racer.
Yeah.
And I'm going to ask you where you see yourself. But also for crit racing, is it quite simply sprinter or breakaway, or like breakaway rider?
What for being a crit rider?
Yeah. Or is it just is a crit rider just like one type of cyclist?
So I think a crit rider in its definition is one type of cyclist, and I think a road racer can then come into being a crit rider, and they have a lot of attributes that suit being a crit. And I feel, especially in the UK, I grew up doing crits, so that's sort of where my background is potentially, and then I sort of did the road racing, because you can't put an 8-year-old onto a 4-hour road race.
So what type of rider are you?
Puncher.
Okay.
I love a good breakaway. That's one of my
goals.
Things.
I want to be on a breakaway next year. Like,
Yeah.
I don't care whether it's like 2 minutes or 40 minutes.
Yeah.
I want to be in a breakaway. It's one thing I've never done, is go off the front with a group of guys.
It is honestly one of the most thrilling things ever, and I think it's one of the most enjoyable things about riding a bike, is being in front of the bunch and being like, oh yeah, I'm actually in for a shot of winning this race, and like you just get like that feeling's a bit addictive, and maybe sometimes it's held me back a bit because I've been a bit too keen towards the start of a race, and I've gone, let's get in a breakaway in the first 5 minutes. Then I realise.
So this is the other thing, is I want to do. I really enjoy bike racing. I enjoy UK bike racing, and the one thing I've not really been able to do is tell the other side of my story, which is, you know, Cat 4 racing, now Cat 3 racing. So we're also going to be able to look over some of Alex's race content, race footage, and he can critique me on my races, and I'll happily share a few opinions on that.
100%. And you know, I've always been open on someone else, like looking at what I do and giving
like,
me
why are you doing that, mate?
Exactly. You know, and you'll find plenty of them. You know, you won't have like trouble critiquing what I do, because a lot of what I do is utter garbage. But
do you find yourself you're quite impulsive? Because I'm quite impulsive when I ride. I'm just not good enough to back it up.
Yeah, I feel like that's been one of my biggest drawbacks, as in the last few years, I've been so excited to then go and race a bike. I've just overdone it, or I've done something that I shouldn't have done, or I should have saved my energy towards the end of the race, where I've just been too keen at the start. And that's one thing that I've had to rein in quite a lot. So that's maybe something we might have to work on next year.
Quite a classic cyclist thing, isn't it? Like the first 10-20 minutes of a race are hot because everyone feels good in the first 20 minutes. So you're like, oh, I'll try it.
Yeah, and you just don't win a race in the first 20 minutes.
I've never won a race.
We will. Trust me, we will get you to win a race next year. I'm confident on that.
So we're also, events like Via Crit, you are saying that you might be willing to give it a go in the E12s. I'll be racing the Cat 3s, so we can now tell both sides of what it's like to go bike racing, which I'm really excited about. Not because I know anything or know enough, but I do find it interesting. I love getting good people's experiences, because I think that bike racers make the same mistake, that just some people are better at riding bikes, right? As in, like, they overestimate what they can do and what they, and it's the same thing. It's just
at slightly different levels,
performance levels.
Yeah. And I don't think any bike racer comes, even the ones that win, you don't come off a bike race and say you've done everything perfectly. It's just never happened. It's one of them sports where perfection just doesn't happen. And I've spent so much time sort of like diluting and picking out what I've done wrong in a bike race, where you've got to, you go through the cycle of like almost too much of what you've done wrong, where you've got to take the good parts, take some of the bad parts and improve on them, and then move on. So I think next year should be a really good year.
I think it's going to be great.
Yeah.
Even if it...
And honestly, I do genuinely think we will get you to Cat 2. It's 100% possible.
I would love that. I will immediately go from Cat 2 back down to Cat 3, but I would love that. So what's the first thing that we got to do?
So the first thing that I'm going to do is get Max set up on training peaks. And I'm going to set my training up until the first test day. So we're going to do just some baseline tests, like an FTP test, 3-minute power test, and then maybe an 8-minute power test, depending on how nice I'm feeling.
Do I have to do that in one setting?
Yeah.
I do that? Okay.
Yeah, so that will be over one day, or then we go to the VO2 max test in a lab. So the difference between them two things is that the lab is much more accurate. And then it can properly set your heart rate zones, and then we know that it's exactly set, and then we can then go and do it 3 to 4 months down the line, and then go and check it against another the next VO2 max test. So that sort of just depends on which route we want to go, but I do think they're both very useful.
I think the easier thing is going to be to start with doing on the bike
definitely
FTP testing, which is horrible, but I don't mind doing it. My problem is as a 40-year-old, is just like the recovery and like how long it takes. I got better throughout the year, 100%. I got better throughout the year, and I came back from having ridden in France for 5 days, 6 days, and my FTP was the highest. Well, on a step test, not a. Are we going to do a 20-minute test?
Yeah. So I prefer the 20-minute test. It gives me a bit more of an overall picture, and I feel like a step test is maybe slightly easier to nail.
I think neuromuscularly I'm better at step tests because I'm conditioned in the gym, so it translates to step tests better than it does a 20-minute test.
So what I've found is that my VO2 max is always better, as in so like my short minute power is always better than my long FTP. So that's why a step test would suit me better, and I think that is probably the same. So I think if we go for the weakest bit, then that will give us a better picture.
Does having a young trendy haircut, will that help me?
10 watts, 10 watts, 100%.
Which I then lose by running an absolute black hollow chainring as well. So weighs itself out a bit.
I think. So the first few weeks is just going to be about communication and about like the way that you want to train, and then we just, as in like recovery, like you've got to sort of let me know when something's a bit too much or something's or you then want to go and do more, but just rein it in as well.
So this is the one thing I really noticed from doing as much riding as I've done this year, which is, and I'm quite ADHD about things. It's like I always realize when my heart rate, like day 3 racing in Mallorca, I couldn't get my heart rate over like 165.
Yeah.
Whereas if I did I remember like doing a Goodwood, trying to chase a breakaway, I got it to 186, and that was that was my max for last year, was 186, trying to chase down a breakaway. Solo effort, absolutely heroic, failed, came back to the group, almost fell off the group. But it got to 186, but then I'm in Mallorca on day 3, tired, exhausted, and I'm at I can't get over 165. So there will be times when I'm like, Alex, mate, I can't, like, I've tried to do the session, my heart rate's just not. And that's because I'm old, by the way.
That's so you've just got sort of, so we're going to set in blocks where we do repeated efforts, as in so day after day, and then that will help that endurance of being able to, so if one of the biggest targets for the year is to go to Mallorca and do the Masters race next year, and that's, let's say, over 4 days, is that then we can target doing sessions, as in maybe like a double day, and then we do the next day a long endurance ride, just to get you used to being on the bike for quite a decent amount of time, and then backing it up the next day.
I'm actually genuinely excited. I'm excited and a little bit nervous, but more excited than nervous.
Well, I'm really excited. So, and I think we can go somewhere with this as well. And I think we've got some good goals, and coaching, especially on like the athlete side, it's a lot about what goals do you want to achieve. You know, let's say if you sat here and you said to me, I want to be coached, and then you said to me, I've got no goals for next year. That makes my job a lot more harder. Whereas if you say, as you've said, 3 things, and then I can work on trying to target that and like make that a reality.
60-minute crit race, breakaway in a 60-minute crit race, end of season Mallorca Masters multi-day stage race,
and can't forget trying to get Cat 2.
So Alex's and obviously my Strava will be down below, so if you do want to follow in along, come give us a follow. And obviously Alex himself is a coach, so if you are looking for some guidance yourself, do reach out. I am super excited about this. Alex is a good dude, and I wanted to work with a young kind of bike racer. As I said, it's a nice way for me to try, even in a small way, support, his racing and what he wants to do. And he's a good bike racer. So I'm excited to see his bike racing. You guys might be less excited to see mine, but I'm gonna force it down your throats anyway. And it should hopefully get me to where I need to be. Not need to be, I'm enjoying it. And I want to enjoy it more. And one way to enjoy it more is to be really good at it. So I'm going to take this all very seriously, because I think you kind of have to. We're going to have a good December, hopefully. Leave everything leave the major decisions up to Alex as to kind of how we do this. I think for me, I want to make sure that I'm a bit more controlled and purposeful with my training going into next year. Like I said, if you do want to follow along, dive onto Strava, and you can see the types of sessions that Alex is setting for me going into next year. I really want to do well at events like the Via Crit, and probably a bit early to say, but I'd potentially like to go back out and do the Mallorca Masters again next year. We'll see how that all shapes up. Anyway, something to look forward to. Guys, thanks for joining in. I will see you on a training session another time soon.
这里。